Okay, recording this video after close trade Monday, 18th of August 2014. Hope your trading's been going well. So I have been busy on other stuff, which is why I have not put up a video on the site since the 7th of August. I really apologize. I hope everybody's kind of been trading well. It's been an interesting market. We kind of bottomed and now kind of testing back up to the highs. I want to talk about two things in this video. First of all, just a follow-up on Has the Fat Lady Sung, which was a pattern on the 135-minute chart that I was pointing out on that last video, and I just want to do a follow up on that and show you what happened and how I interpret it. And the second thing, just to talk about another of these kind of rules of thumb which would got you into a nice day trade for today's session. So let's go back to this Has the Fat Lady Sung and the high time frame tip bar charts. So this is the usual kind of high time frame stuff I'm looking at: the daily, the 135-minute chart, and the 45-minute chart. All of this has a factor of 3 between it. It's just like the day trading charts, starting off on a low time frame, then multiplying by 3, and then by 3 again. Gives us a nice kind of multiple time frame view of the market. So you will recall that on the daily chart we had cyclical support came in. It was a pullback in an uptrend signal. We had blue professional bars, exhaustion sell kind of going on here, and that cyclical support synced up with a trend move on the 45-minute chart. So pullback to end of trend. Nice little signal here. So we got a trending move ending, coming into a cyclical support on a higher time frame. Bang. And that's why we've kind of had this support kind of come in and it's held nicely. Now when I put up the video on the Has the Fat Lady Sung, I was talking about, don't forget we're in a downtrend on the 135-minute chart. We've still got to make pullback to end of trend. We've still got to kind of test these lows. We'd had our exhaustion sell down here. Bullish divergence kind of comes in, more bullish divergence down here. The overnight session we went below 1900. It was a spike down and then we kind of raced away from there. So I was waiting for this pullback to end of trend to kind of come in and play itself out. We did it. The resistance level kind of printed nicely. We started to sell off a little bit, but the market was so strong there. You can see it immediately. As soon as we closed that gap, bang, reversed and went the other way and broke into an uptrend now on the 135-minute chart. So that suggests that the market, we've cleared out a hell of a lot of sellers at this point with these exhaustion kind of selling signals in here. The market was so strong we just broke immediately back up. We didn't kind of test back down again, so we kind of got going the other way. And then on Friday's activity, this is what we had on Friday. We had that real kind of sharp sell-off in the morning, kind of bottomed, and it raced away the other way by the end of the day. And then so when we opened up on the Sunday evening, we kind of gapped up, opened the Sunday evening into the Monday morning, and that's what we're dealing with at the moment. So it's strong because this pullback level immediately kind of got broken to the upside. We've also tested pretty severely down on the Friday with this blue professional bar and immediately reversed, broke above the highs, kind of going the other way. So from that perspective, it looks like we're going to kind of go back up to test. At some point, we'll find cyclical resistance on the daily chart here. It'll come in there. We've got amateur up bars at the moment. It's kind of low volume type stuff. We'll wait and see. We could end up with kind of no demand patterns, kind of not running very far. But the next point that I'm looking for is a pullback to end of trend sequence on the 45-minute chart. So a nice little kind of trending move. We've got an exhaustion pattern on a left shoulder, but it didn't come with blue professional bars there with today's activity. So I'd like to see pullback to end of trend going on the 45-minute chart, and then that'll be syncing up with cyclical resistance on the daily chart there. So that for me is the next point that's kind of an interesting kind of inflection point, and whether that kind of ends up being it in terms of this move and it kind of rolling over or kind of continue on. Seasonality wise, it's kind of an interesting, we're kind of mid to late August. September, October tends to be weak. We can get kind of sell-offs during those times of year. So I don't know, I think we're just going to kind of be playing with the highs and go through some more kind of cyclical activity after this kind of spiking down. Everybody's kind of feeling good to have kind of got in at this low, and it's kind of powering up. It'd be interesting to see what kind of happens. I'm looking when the iPhone's released for Apple. That'll be kind of key. That's coming up to $100 on the Apple chart. That'll be kind of an interesting point as well. But anyway, in the meantime, what we've got to see is pullback to end of trend on the 45-minute chart, syncing up with this cyclical resistance. That's the next kind of important inflection point. So that's the follow-up to Fat Lady Sung, and it was so strong it just powered through that pullback level. Now, let's talk about a rule of thumb and how to get into today's trade. So Friday's activity we sold off. Here's the 1500 tip bar chart. We sold off and we had exhaustion selling. Whoops, let me make that a little bit prettier. So this is Friday's activity. This is the overnight session leading into Friday's sell-off. Huge waterfall move, and then we had an exhaustion sell signal here with bullish divergence comes in, flush patterns, and then we race away into an uptrend. This is the activity over the Sunday night into Monday. They gapped it up. Very kind of limited liquidity on a Sunday evening, and so it's easy to kind of move it up like that. So they gapped it up so that we started off a good 5 or 6 points up on the Monday morning. Now, because we'd had a reversal day on Friday, we'd had exhaustion buys by the end of the day, kind of anxious to get into this move. What you expect the next day is continuation. So you're expecting a continuation and getting in on any kind of little sign of weakness until you get that exhaustion pattern during what I refer to as the full liquidity of the day. All I'm trying to say is you got to have everybody playing. It's got to be during the day session. If the market's going to reverse, if the professionals are going to take advantage of all the volume that kind of sold out here in order to get all that volume, take profits on it, they're going to use the full liquidity of the day sessions kind of activity, not just the overnight. The overnight's not kind of good enough in terms of getting that exhaustion pattern. They're going to wait for that during the full liquidity of the day. So we're in an uptrend. We're using any opportunity to kind of jump in order to anticipate a continuation of this until we get those exhaustion patterns. Now for me, the sign to get in was we had cyclical support come in on the 1500 and the 500 together. It was about here. I jumped in at 62.75. Didn't want to go anywhere for a while. It just kind of tested that support level, so I had to take a little bit of heat on that. But you'll notice amateur down bars and Rambo patterns here on 1500. So the testing there was amateurs expecting the thing to go down. No, it breaks the other way, bang, and we break into a nice little kind of uptrend here. So question of just holding on until those exhaustion patterns start to kind of play in. I took profits a little bit too early. I took profits at 66 and a quarter for 3.5. Could have waited for the full target at 4 points, which got hit a little later. But I just do not like sitting through this kind of retrace activity in order to get that extra half point. For me, that kind of risk reward, sitting through that junk, just psychologically, it's just not in me to do. I'd rather take profits a little bit earlier because we'd had the pro signal exits kind of go off. So we got potentially pullback to end of trend, exhaustion patterns, bearish divergence kind of come in, blue professional up bars kind of going on here. So we had a whole sequence of things that kind of came together that said potentially that's a topping out pattern. But by 11 in the morning, we just kind of crept higher and higher. And not really reversed, and so we're just going to spend the rest of the day kind of creeping around those highs and not doing much of anything. So there we go. It was a continuation day on Monday based on the activity on Friday. You're waiting for those exhaustion patterns to kind of play in before starting to think about a reversal. That's way too early for thinking about a reversal, and you can see the amateurs kind of getting knocked out there. So with tomorrow's activity, I don't know, now we're going to play into a little bit of cyclical activity. We're going to kind of go nowhere. We've had these kind of exhaustion patterns. We're just going to wait for the next kind of trend break on the lower time frames, 1500 and the 500, to kind of signal where we might go. We could get a little bit of weakness on Tuesday, and just see if it plays into a pullback to end of trend on the 45-minute chart. So I hope your trading's going well, and I'll tag on that day trade. Okay, just got long 62.75, long 62.75, checking stops, targets, and the reason for getting long, we've had, so it's Monday morning, a little bit of a gap up overnight. On the Sunday evening they gapped it up and kept it going. Friday was a beautiful little reversal day. I'll show you on the 1500 tip bar chart. Whoops. Here we go. Bottomed here. Exhaustion sell, bullish divergence kind of comes in at almost exactly on the dot, 11 a.m. And I had a nice little rally from there. So we've kind of continued overnight with the open. And this thing's not going to be over on the upside until we get exhaustion buy on the 1500 tick bar chart. So the reason for jumping in now, we're just losing it a little bit. It's got double support in 500, 1500. Always going to get blue professional bars around the open. so that's not unusual. I was just jumping in as soon as we got two of these things kind of coming together. Maybe should have been waiting for more confirmation, maybe an amateur down bar and kind of coming back up, or a break of resistance, something like that, but that's the reason for getting in. And I know we've had pullback to end of trend on 1500 and I believe fractional bars up here, but we haven't had exhaustion buy. So we usually need that during the full liquidity of the days. That means during the proper day session to have an exhaustion pattern to reverse it. So until we've seen that, we're likely still in an uptrend. So here we go, 63. So let's get a little bit of a break. It'd be nice to get above this resistance up here of 64s when we hit that kind of pre-open. See what we do next. Okay, just waiting and waiting, sitting through a tiny little bit of a retrace here, about 1.5 off entry, but it's kind of being led by the amateurs. You can see amateur down bars and rainbow patterns. Double rainbow pattern on 1500, so amateur down bars here, and then the first blue professional bar that we've seen on the 500 since the open comes in. And what we need, we broke above the high of this thing. We need to get this thing going. Again, supports didn't get broken on the 500 tip bar chart, so the market's not that weak. We've still got this support to resistance to run. If we get above the the high here, high up 64s, then we'll go for a nice little run. It's another blue professional bar. Hopefully this is a little gathering, kind of just getting ready. The professionals buying that in expectation of a breakout, but we need to see it keep going through the highs, keep going through 63s, start breaking below support into a downtrend, then that's not good. Let's just wait and see. Here we go, come on, get into 63s, and another one. So it's a little gathering, just getting ready, waiting to break above the high of the day, and then we'll get into a trending move. Come on. Well, we just had a bit of a dig down, bang, but we bounced straight back off it. So although we did break the lows of this little sequence of blue professional bars, that was just a little bit of a kind of trying to get people to panic. And it's just looking, and as soon as we bounce back like that, straight back, break above resistance here, takes us into a trend move, then things will get exciting and we'll start to break to the upside quickly. So, come on. Alright, here we go, breaking up nicely. Rainbow pattern's kind of leading the way, so wouldn't be surprised if we just come off a little bit, but maybe not. We're just happy at 64s. So the high pre-open 64.25. Might be some stops up around here to be run. 64.5, 64.75, something around there. If we get a little bit of a burst, there we go. Kind of running stops. Exhaustion patterns, blue professional bars kind of come in here, 7,000 reading. That's decent reading. So maybe we'll get pullback in a trend with an exhaustion pattern kind of up here, coming up to cyclical resistance. But this has got to run pullback in a trend on 500. Alright, we're running hard, 65.25. More blue professional bars kind of coming on 1500. There's our exhaustion, pro signal exit kind of gone off. Again, we've still got to wait for pullback end of trend on the 500. It's getting a little bit kind of exponential looking here. And I'm looking for 6.75. Just out, 6.25. Of 3.5, which is good enough. Original target 6.75, but we ran pretty hard. Kind of got pro signal exits going off here. We had a bearish divergence kind of coming on the 500, so just moved my target back a fraction, got taken out. Excellent. So that's what I like to be taken out on, like a left shoulder before having to sit through kind of retracement and a push back up. I'm sure we'll go pull back under trend on 500 and go through 66 and a quarter and hit the original target, but I'd rather just be out on that little push. Good, 9:02 a.m. quite nice, 3.5 points. There we go. A few minutes later, quite a few minutes later actually, pull back to under trend goes off, and the original target 66 and 3/4 got hit. So the full target would have been made, another half point in it, but that's fine. I'm not interested in holding through this kind of junk and having to sit through that. I'd rather be out on the left shoulder for me with the pro signal exits. So quite happy. What is it? 9:17. Done. And let's see what it does today, because this is the makings of potentially a little reversal or weakness here, because we put in pullback to end of trend and we put in exhaustion patterns. So it might find it difficult to kind of get through and go very much higher. But who knows? We are in an uptrend.